So, I've got a confession to make. In my top 10 video, I said that I probably wouldn't buy a Persona 5 Royal because paying full price for a re-released game that just has a few extra things attached didn't really sit too well with me. Well, to be fair, I haven't played Persona 5 Royal yet, and apparently that game's like super kick-ass, but don't really fancy spending full price on a game I already own that just has a few bonus features in, when really they could have just done like a massive DLC / overhaul and charged maybe like 25 quid for it. And I still feel the same way, but recently Persona 5 Royal went on sale for $24.99, and I just had to buy it. I said that if they released this as like a DLC for £25, then I would have been happy with it. And this sale technically put it within my criteria, so why the hell not? And as of recording this right now, I had only just 2 days ago beaten Persona 5 Royal, and I do have some things and thoughts I'd like to say, but that's for another video that I am currently working on right now. After beating Persona 5, I kind of wondered what next? Not like, what am I going to play next? Am I going to do another playthrough? More like, what's next for the series? And it got me thinking about a possible Persona 6, and then that got me thinking about things that I think would be cool for a sequel. So the point of this today is me just basically talking about the things I'd like to see in Persona 6, and really this is all speculation. Nothing I talk about today or that anyone talks about really until Atlus officially confirms anything is guaranteed. All we can do is speculate and assume and wish, and this is one of those. So let's just get straight into it. Also, quick apology, it is hot as balls in this room and I've got 2 lights on me, as well as the fact I have to have my window closed, otherwise it's really loud and you hear that. So you might hear like a weird background humming noise or a whooshing sound. That's my fan. It's really hot and I do not want to be dripping while talking, so it's more for your benefit than mine, so. So to kick things off, let's talk about something that's been a staple throughout almost every, if not every, Persona game. And that is the fact that the cast is predominantly high schoolers. And while I don't personally have a problem with that, I do think it's probably time that we step the game up and maybe make them a little older or put them into the beginnings of adult life, maybe in a college or a university setting. This way the world opens up to them more and gives them more opportunities, new areas that you wouldn't have been able to explore before, new social opportunities with places to hang around with other social links and confidants in your free time. Putting them at a minimum age of 18 would really provide a lot of opportunity and potential for future things for everyone to do, for plot points and story, and doing that, it can affect the player and make them feel more involved and invested in characters. It can really grab a person more just by making them more adult. And something else I'd like to see, even though this has been done before, mind you, in other games, is add a female protagonist, or at the very least have an option to pick either male or female, and instead of just changing sentence structure to acknowledge the gender, certain plot points, certain events, certain situations, certain social links are locked behind specific gender roles. Hello, sorry to cut in. I just thought, I've watched this back a few times now and I really didn't like my wording here. It sounded a bit too narrow-minded. So for example, in Persona 5, Kamoshida objectified women and did some real nasty stuff to them, and as a male character, you only experienced it from an outside perspective narratively. And if Joker was female, then Kamoshida would probably treat you the same as he treated Ann and Shiho, which would then be the same plotline, but from a different, albeit more messed up perspective. Which, again, would change different playstyles. It would promote additional playthroughs. You'd essentially be doubling the replay value. And while we're on this subject as well, why not have it so we can finally have same-sex relationships in a Persona game? I personally know people who have played Persona 4 and Persona 5 and got genuinely frustrated that they put all this time and effort into the male social links and couldn't date them. Yeah, that's fair enough. Like, some people swing a different way. You shouldn't be forced to play a strictly heterosexual role when you yourself may feel it's more appropriate to you to put this character into a gay relationship or even be bisexual and pick and choose as you want who you want to date, when you want to date. I mean, some people call bisexual being fussy. I just like to see it as opening as many doors as possible, because sometimes you do just want to sex a dude. Talking about going somewhere that the games haven't gone before, Persona 5 originally was meant to have this kind of globe-trotting plot point. You were meant to go to different countries and visit different cultures and have this kind of like self-realization, enlightenment kind of quest. But because of the 2011 earthquake and tsunami, Atlus decided to keep the game set in Japan because they were inspired by the Japanese people working together to bring their lives back to normality. And now in Persona 6, we have that opportunity to maybe experience this original idea. Maybe we could go from country to country, or if they're not ready to expand outside of Japan, maybe we can do like interstate, intercity adventures. Maybe we could revisit Tokyo, maybe we could revisit Inaba, maybe we can revisit Tatsumi Port Island. We could go to all of the previous places where the other Persona games were set, revisit old areas, potentially revisit old NPCs and characters. That would open up a lot for the plot. It would bring back old players and make them feel acknowledged. It'd bring the new players in and make them experience this whole new world that they probably didn't get playing Persona 5. And staying on that with the NPCs, maybe we could have some of the previous protagonists from Persona 2, 3, 4, 5 come in and act as either major NPCs that have some kind of plot relation, or we could have them as social links and have them interact with the new group. I have some other ideas as well, but I think we'll get into that in a minute. I don't know what that was. One thing I think would be genuinely cool that only hardcore fans or old school fans would appreciate would probably be the return of one of the first real main antagonists for the game, Nyarlathotep, who in Persona 1 and 2 was basically the main reason things started going all screwy. The last time we saw Nyarlathotep was at the end of Persona 2 Eternal Punishment, when he kind of begrudgingly stepped back from having any form of major interaction to kind of see how humanity will play out and if it will screw itself over. But now after Persona 2 we've had essentially 3 world-saving scenarios. Maybe he's finally had enough of things not going the way he wanted and he decides to step back in again. And that in itself could have so many opportunities for different plot points to bring back maybe even the original cast from the second game, or maybe we could even have the return of other protagonists who have already saved the world from their respective evils, and they've decided to work together to try and take down the ultimate evil. But to be honest, out of all of those, I think that's probably the least likely, only because I don't see Atlus winningly putting all of their protagonists together outside of some kind of like fighter game or party game. Something I thought would be quite cool that not many people would probably agree with me on. I was thinking, what if maybe someone like Nanako from Persona 4, who has been to another world already, was the protagonist of the next game? Maybe not set in Inaba, maybe she's now an adult and has decided to go and check out different places, see if she can find anyone who's had any of these otherworldly experiences, and in the meantime has gained a contract with Igor, has gained the power of the wild card, and is now on her own adventure, where she then starts to relate more with you. You. And then again, we could have the returning character. We could have a new social link, or maybe even a very late game overpowered party member. But that's more of a personal wish, and again, just like everything else I've said really, it's really not likely to happen, but one can dream.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine. But you...
Those are really the only things that I'd like to see in terms of how they handle like plots and events. On top of them, there are overall themes I probably would think are pretty cool. How we've had like an investigation team in Persona 4, like a secret high school organization to take out shadows in Persona 3, and now the Phantom Thieves in Persona 5. Maybe we could do something like a Yakuza theme, which is like a major step up from the thief motif. You know, it's like a go harder, go darker to match with the adult theme if we made them like 18 years old. Like they get dragged into like a Yakuza-esque world and then their personas somehow play a part in that. Or a cowboy? That's mostly just because I personally would love to see how Japan handles a spaghetti western JRPG. Like, imagining like a Red Dead Redemption 2 Persona 5 like love child. It's hilarious, and I would not be mad if that was a thing. Or we could kind of stay in the same vein and maybe make them bounty hunters instead, and instead of like stealing hearts or tracking down a murderer, we're tracking down people who are committing crimes in this game's otherworld, ultimately leading to a larger plot where it turns out there's actually like some huge crime syndicate operating within the otherworld, and it's your job as bounty hunters to take them down. Ninjas? There's really no reason for this one, it's just who doesn't want to be a ninja. Power Rangers / Featherman, because in Persona 4 and 5, I'm not sure about previous Persona games, we have the Featherman group, which is the Persona analog for like Kamen Rider and Sentai, also known as Power Rangers. So to have an entire Persona game based around that, where instead of like actual Personas, we're unlocking like Persona Zords or some shit, I don't know. And then the final bosses for like each area requires you to get into like a Megazord to fight. That'd be pretty dope. But that's probably the inner child in me just wishing something like that would exist. And the last kind of idea I had of what they could do kind of goes back to Persona 4 and their investigation group, but instead of like just a ragtag group of high schoolers, it's like a legit detective agency that utilizes the otherworld and personas to solve otherworldly crimes, sort of like the bounty hunter one, but toned down and more use your head than use your fists. And again, a reoccurring character, we could have Naoto from Persona 4, who like runs this academy. He's like a headmaster for this academy and is teaching everyone how to do what to do. And then Nanako, again, could be the protagonist. She's decided to join this academy to learn how to become a detective so she can unravel what actually happened when she was 6 years old. And then that could escalate into her gaining the wild card again.
All right.
I mean, you could even go as far as to maybe putting a Akechi in as well. But that would be, is he still canonically dead or alive? Because the Persona 5 Royal after credits scene kind of leaves it a bit ambiguous. You see the uniform but not the face. So it's up in the air. They could either confirm or deny it. It could happen or not. More than likely not. I mean, it would be weird because you can technically already draw parallels between Naoto and Akechi, and technically Adachi and Akechi, so it wouldn't be too out of place to have him there. But again, it would be a case of, is he canonically alive or not? We just have to wait and see. So I'm not gonna lie, that was probably the most incoherent rambling I've done so far. I know I repeated a few points multiple times, but that's the thing, when you really enjoy a game series, you do kind of get lost in thought when you're talking, and you don't realise you start like looping over what you've already said. And again, I probably more than likely most definitely have done that. But I really love the Persona series. I have played all of them and I have enjoyed all of them. And we probably won't be getting it for a very long time. I'd say we'd probably be getting one within this decade, but we're probably looking at like the arse end of 2020 something. We're probably looking at like 2025, 2026. We just don't know. I'm more than confident enough to say that Atlus probably has a folder in their HQ marked Persona 6, but it's probably just a blank folder with nothing in it, because right now they're focusing mostly on the fact that they've got the new Shin Megami Tensei 5 on the way, as well as remasters of the previous games going onto the Switch. I say let them do that, let the hype for those games run its course, and then when the time's right, we'll see what they've got for us in Persona 6. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!